All right, so we're working on lesson 37, dealing with perfect passive participles. This is our introduction to participles, and we're going to start with perfect passive. In Latin, I believe that this is the trickiest of them because it can hide itself, disguise itself very, very well. Now, a participle is a couple of things. It is part verb, part adjective. So, how about a participle? It's verb and it's an adjective. All right, and an adjective describes a noun. And a verb, in this instance, is some sort of action. So think of an action that's describing a noun. All right. To form the perfect passive participle, you just need the fourth principal part. And it's going to be translated as having been blanked or just blanked. And if you see down here, fourth principal part, amatis, this US is going to change based on whatever it is it's describing. Rule of syrup and eggs. In this example, amata, that US changed to an A to match up with girl. The girl having been loved or the loved girl. Now I said a participle is an adjective and a verb. So we need to find something that looks like a verb but isn't being a verb, it's describing a noun. So in the first one, we found the stolen money. Stolen is describing money, and it looks like a verb. The soldier, had been frightened, fled from battle. Had been frightened is describing soldier. The prepared warrior usually survives. And prepared is describing warrior. So those are three examples of not just participles, but in this instance, perfect passive participles. And we're going to get some more examples to give you the idea of the fourth principal part, switch and endings. Going to decline it real quick. I'm going to knock out the declension for puer. Then vis. All right. And now, so, US, and that's matching up with puer. Both of these are going to be I, genitive singular. O for dative singular. UM, accusative singular. Don't know if this will fit, but we'll do what we can. So note that it matches up. And we're going to do the same thing with aqua. Whoops. It's not even an option. All right, now, that's how to decline aqua. And this is going to act the same way. Now, because it's feminine, it's going to have all these A endings. Please note that it switches from puer, which is masculine, to aqua, which is feminine. All right. Now, some practice with these. So that's how you can decline them. You can also do neuter, which is what they actually look like when translating them. So I have wesis, and in parentheses, it's the verb from which it comes. So, the boy, having been seen, the girl, having been found. Now, that may not make much sense or sound right to you, but we're going to keep practicing and get you used to it. And we can switch the order and wording around just a little bit if we need to. So, the city having conquered, or you could say the conquered city. Opitum relictum. Oh, let me finish that. The abandoned town. The fortified camp, or the camp having been fortified. Peace having been made. The law having been written, or the written law. The pressed soldiers, or the soldiers having been pressed. And of course, that is how you spell soldiers. The boy having been dragged. The boy having been cared for. The boy having been sought. The moon having been pointed out. The letters having been sent. And then the soldier having been ordered. All right, so what we're doing there is getting used to what the perfect passive participle looks like. The wesis, the inventa, the victa, the relictum, so on and so forth, as well as the phrasing. Some verb review. Fall, cadere, the RE. To fall, cadam. Now this is third conjugation, so that's going to be future. Propulsus S. Please don't translate that as is. Please, it is perfect passive. He has been beaten. Pellant. They beat. Pulsiramus mus we ERA. And it's two words. Had been beaten. And then review of the fourth principal part as well as some verbs. Now, if you look at these, all right, so the first principal part is here. The fourth principal part, or the perfect passive participle, is there. And then the translation. So use this to fill it on your sheet, but also to become familiar with the fourth principal part, the perfect passive participle, and how they look similar and yet sometimes different. So ago to octus could be one of those ones where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was the same thing. Scrolling on down. Relinquo to relictus. Abandon. Eubeo, order, uo. Alright, help. Lego goes to lectus, reader choose. So I'm going to go back up to the top. Pause it if you need to copy them down. And then the bottom half, pause it here if you need to copy them down as well. And kind of keep the sheet, know where it is so you can access it whenever you need to. All right, so underline the perfect passive participle and then translate. The sailor pointed out the stars having been seen. The soldier Wolowit wanted to be in the camp having been fortified, or you can say in the fortified camp. The boy saw his father having been killed in battle. The book having been read by me was good. Alright, on this one it's going to be relicta. The soldiers saw the abandoned camp. Relictum there. The boy was not able to find the abandoned villa. Eustace, the soldier, having been ordered Duque by the leader fought to the death. Alright, Paratus, and then no man having not been prepared. Is suitable fellow for war. Honoratus. The wounded soldier fell from the bridge. Alright, in this one, well, okay. Underline a little too much. We've got an ablative here with the aid. Having been received. The Rex, the king. Was able to care for the citizens. Data, going with modifying auctoritas. Authority given by the king And then Ducas, this is going to be genitive. The leader's authority was great. Trakti from Traho. The miserable captives. Drag to the feet of the king. Sought peace timidly. The right letters. Having been sent by our queen. Came to the king. Tentus is from Teneum. The man. Having been held underwater for a long time. No longer lives. And then some review with adjectives and adverbs. Adjective, so altus. In the eor, double the s. Isthmus, fortis. Need the eor and then the isthmus. And then for the adverbs, the comparative is going to end in ius. And then switch the final e, or switch the final us to an e. Translating some sentences. You've got the issa there, so the very wise king. This E is going to be future since it's third conjugation. Will not lead his people into war. Eor is comparative. The leader, Factus, was made, has been made. Eor, more certain. About the number of enemies. Pessimus, the worst soldier. Will not fight in war. And then, I don't know why it keeps moving like that, but it does. So the crazy king, or crazy queen, one at minimost, the smallest boys and girls. We're just going to keep it nice here to fall. Hopefully she's not crazy enough to want him to die. And then some alley practice. Okay, so this one's tricky. So our options are disturbing, to disturb, haven't been disturbed, and about to disturb. Well, this is a fourth principal part, which equals a perfect passive participle, which we talked about at the beginning. So you're going to want having been disturbed. All right, 2 words. For surreptitious means it's passive. Those are all passive. And since it's a present form of sum, it's going to be perfect. So perfect passive is A. IUS is a comparative adverb. B. Time word in the accusative is accusative of time. So you want C. Cura, vestimenta nostra. All right, so this is going to be a vocative. And for vocative, US goes to E. So we want A here. Marke is going to be the vocative of that. It needs to stop doing that because I'm not doing that. Ludent. Third conjugation, which means that's going to be future. And if that doesn't help jog your memory, that et and the bunt will. And then lastly, nobis. The French shot to Marcus. Get the ball. And then all of these are 4, so nobis is just going to be us. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know.